Welcome to Let's Go Dad. Today we're going to be talking about cell phone stuff and what to do with a teenager and cell phones, how they earn them, so on and so forth, as well as the contract that we make with our teenagers about cell phones. My name is Nick.
My name's Robert.
Thanks for watching.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go. So, Robert, how have we been doing with cell phones?
Well, this couple days now, I've been doing a lot better. And let's just say, before these couple days, it's been bad. Stop tickling me. So, something about me, for some reason, I am so ticklish, like everywhere, but he's not.
I don't know why he says I'm tickling
Stop.
him. He just has these weird random outbursts of laughter. See, he makes me do it. I have no control.
No, I'm just making
over
him
it.
scratch my chin for me.
All right. So, Robert, you're saying that you've been doing better lately, but you've had a rough past when we've tried to let you use cell phones.
Yeah, but I've got them to be able to use them, lose them. And I've once had one of my own, but I wasn't too good with it, so I lost it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got one new contract we made for me to earn it back, so hopefully that would go well. And then...
Well, this is the Robert's phone list of things he needs to do to earn it back.
Yep.
So I'll try to put that, take a picture of that and put it up.
This is one I have to do to keep it, so once I get
Yeah,
it...
we'll talk through that one.
Yeah.
All right. So first off, on the phone list of things that Robert needs to do before he can get a phone back, well, even before that, am I letting you use the phone some now?
Yeah, so the kind of thing we're doing right now with the phone, we call it family phone. Well, it used to be my phone, but if we go onto my contact list, like who owns it, it says Robert on it.
Wait, what?
So,
Your cell phone contacts, yeah.
Yeah, the one for that phone is Robert because it used to be mine. So that list, the job of that list is to kind of tell me what I need to do to get it back, I think, as my own phone again.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm kind of hoping to get back soon.
So right now, when Robert goes certain places, like to a friend's house yesterday or whatever, then he can take the phone with him sometimes. Sometimes he can't. It all depends on how things have been going with him. Is his room clean?
It is now.
Yeah, as of like 5 minutes ago, it's clean.
Don't believe him.
You know, those kinds of things all factor in, but part of it is just how he's been doing with responsibility lately. But here's the phone list of things he's got to do in order to get his phone back. Step 1. Pay Dad $1 million. So that's pretty reasonable. What?
So step 1 is set responsibility for myself. I would argue, I can argue for hours upon hours.
Yeah, so I don't think the issue...
Back, but the problem is, so that's something I need to start doing is accept. Like when someone says, when he says I've done something wrong, I just need to be like, yes.
But the real issue about this, the issue is, I think you know when you've done something wrong.
And I don't tell
But
it.
the negotiator inside of you
Won't give up.
we'll try to argue for hours and hours. I'll close my door. Robert is still there trying to argue that he gets more or not as severe a consequence or whatever. He will spend his life trying to lawyer up so that he doesn't have to deal with whatever consequence.
Don't believe him.
Yeah.
Step
So
2.
anyhow, that's a big one. That's why it's number 1.
Step 2, telling Dad when oh my gosh, never mind, fine. Step 2, knowing that my dad loves me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, totally loved me then. So something, I've argued to get this off, but he just doesn't listen to me anymore. Step 3, telling Dad when I learned the password. I learned the password to more than one things, but one of the things I learned too was how to unlock the game. So, during that time, he was allowing me to keep in my room for story. But he already knows this part. But instead, sometimes I did continue a story on. I used the password but I was able to play games longer than he set them to. Or any game I already wanted, or even get them.
So the big thing is, if someone tells him the password, if he somehow oversees Grandma, Grandpa, or me typing in the password, or Clyde the dog, whoever, doesn't matter who, or one of our foster kids, for their phones, they have a password and he sees it, whatever, he needs to come and tell me right away so that password can be changed. And that's part of having a phone. And if he can't be responsible with that, or if any kid in our house can't be responsible with that, then they're not responsible enough to have a phone.
Step 4, only playing video games when I'm allowed to. Well, I kind of explained that already. And another thing is, so as he said, the lower part of me, kind of, or the negotiator, I love trying to get more time with video games. Like, I would go on...
I thought you said the lower part of you.
Lower.
I pictured your feet, you playing video games, like, with your feet or something.
Yeah, but
the lower part of me really enjoys video games.
The lawyer part of me loves to argue all the time. So often I'm usually trying to get Dad to let me have more time. And usually it just ends worse for me than it was.
Am I pretty strict about like boundaries? Yeah, pretty strict.
Once in a while, I can, if I've been really good, he would let me get a lot of the time, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah, and I would say less so now that he's been arguing more and more and pushing pretty hard for, against consequences and for more time. I find that I'm like, nope, I guess we have to be really strict about boundaries. So there it is.
5. And knowing that my dad loves me. Yeah. 6, turning the phone into Dad before 9 p.m. every night. So that's something that now I'm not too worried about getting done, since now on the phone I've set an alarm. We have an alarm set before 9 p.m. At 8, I'm going to say 58, I think. So now I'm not too worried about that, but that's something that I'm still going to have to keep my eyes on even after.
Got to be in my hand by 9 p.m.
7, knowing that my dad loves me. 8, earning games / money and rather than begging and not spending family money without permission.
So he's got to earn games and money. And again, if he learns passwords or whatever,
9, knowing that my dad loves me. Stop hugging me.
I would lick you, but that would be gross.
Ew, no! Help me, please. 10, turning off media without complaint before my time is up. Well, again, I already kind of mentioned that. I love arguing for more. 11, taking breaks from media, finding other helpful coping skills so my personality does not change negatively after I play or watch media. So, something that I have fun, especially more violent games, we've noticed that I just flip pretty much right after, or even daring.
Yeah, most action kind of games.
And the problem is, I love action. Like, one of my favorite games that he won't let me play, if any of you know our other videos, I've been getting him trying to get me it back, is Skyrim.
Oh.
Stop it. Skyrim. And as y'all know, I've been arguing pretty much ever since I lost it to get it back, but he's not negotiable with. He does not understand the
Let me say that Robert never had Skyrim. He was allowed to play it, to try it out for a minute, and the promise was that he would just kind of hang out in the woods with a bow
and
not really do anything, maybe go hunting,
and kill stuff.
Unfortunately, Robert did not stick to that, and so of course it got removed pretty quickly. But yeah, of course he wants to play the game. There's still a lot of things on your phone list here. We're only on number, we just finished 11, and there's 21. So this is going to take a while.
12 through 21 is knowing that my dad loves me. That's all he wrote. I'm even going to show you. Hopefully tell that. He's crazy. And this is one that we have so once I get it back, is when I first got it, I just went like this. I just wrote down my initials. And instantly Dad said pretty much the first minute I broke like half the rules.
Okay, so he refused to read it. Like, I tried over and over. I said, you do not sign a contract without reading it. And within an hour, he had broken a rule 3 times and had the final consequence, which really showed me that he was not ready to have a cell phone or even access to a cell phone at that point. So he wasn't allowed to touch a cell phone for quite a while. We're giving it a shot again. We'll see how this all goes. But yeah, I think that's a fair consequence. Let me say that this contract was not created for Robert. We actually took one online and we tweaked it for foster care and for our own needs. And at the time I had like a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, I think, in the house. And so both of them had to sign this contract, follow the rules on this contract, because both of them had cell phones. Yeah, we're not going to go through this contract step by step, just because I'm going to post it. You can see everything that we do. There's a few things on here that I think are worth mentioning. One of them is you're never to send naked photos to anyone. And that's, I hope, pretty common on contracts that parents do with their kids, because that's something that could lead to legal issues and trouble.
Well, I've never done anything like that.
This contract wasn't even made for Robert. It's just kind of a standard contract. I'd say
some
that
of them don't know.
For some of our foster kids, they've had some legal requirements around cell phone use, who they're not allowed to contact, for example. And so I will add those on the bottom of the list. So I do customize this for each foster kid who comes in our home. Robert doesn't have any restrictions like that necessarily. Yeah.
Awesomeness here.
And so
you're looking at the embodiment of awesomeness.
Yeah. He's not allowed, of course, to contact any third world dictators, but other than that, like,
I do. Don't let him know that, but eye contact is a law dictated.
He's not allowed to take over the world. It is against the rules.
He doesn't know that, but I've already taken over the world, so shh, don't tell him that. He just doesn't know.
I hope not. There's a few things that we add at the bottom.
One thing I kind of want to mention, there's 3 sayings that I think I don't like them, but I know they're, okay, I like the first one, but the second and third I hate the most.
Okay, so these are the steps that are taken when a kid messes up, when they don't follow these rules. Let me say, though, that even though we have them listed as a 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, it does say on the contract that some of the offenses lead straight to step 3. Even though we have steps 1 through 3, some of the offenses on the list lead a child straight to step 3. And I talked that through. Did we talk that through?
That's pretty something I asked just to make sure, because I kind of asked him what are the ones that would lead to it and what ones wouldn't, since I want to find the ones that would lead to it, and I want to really be like, I want to watch myself with those, because I don't want to, because once I reach step 3, you understand why I don't want to hit it at all.
Yeah, and so anything that messes up my hair or makes fun of my facial hair gets you right to step 3, right? Isn't that pretty much the way it goes?
No.
Should be.
The saying it says about these is, if I violate the above contract, I understand the following steps will be taken. First violation, warning. Second violation, lose electronics for a week. Violation 3, lose cell phone privileges for no less than a week. These pleasures must be earned back through chores and trust-building good behavior. Note, for any of the serious offenses, especially those involving legal ramifications,
Ramifications, good, yeah.
an immediate jump to step 3 will be taken.
Yeah,
Sorry there, I just had a hiccup.
So one thing about cell phones and foster kids, some foster kids come to your house with a cell phone. I would want to know that before you say yes to taking them in, because that conversation and an agreement needs to be made with your caseworker before they move in. It's totally fair for a teenager to have a cell phone, typically. Typically that's a normal thing. But some teenagers really can't handle cell phones. And so there are caseworkers out there who demand that they have cell phones, and there are times when you should have freedom to take them away. And I've heard that there are some caseworkers that get really upset if you take away cell phones. So I would want to negotiate that with a caseworker ahead of time before accepting placement. The other thing is, keep in mind that when foster kids come into care, a lot of them are significantly younger emotionally and mentally than they are physically. And so you wouldn't want to hand a 4-year-old a cell phone, right? You just wouldn't want to do that. And there are a lot of 12, 13-year-old foster kids out there who emotionally or mentally are like 4 to 7, 8-year-olds. So handing them a cell phone, probably not a great idea, or you want to have very strict boundaries around it. The balance with this is that, Robert, you're 14. How many of your friends do you think have cell phones?
Probably all. I think all of them do except for one. And even then, I think that's just because he doesn't really want one, more likely than anything. And that's hard for me because I wanted to text one of my friends, but my dad's like, no, you have not done your chores. And that's hard. So they're like, hey, Robert, what's your phone number? I'm like, I don't have a phone. That's kind of hard.
Most of the time, you don't have a phone. You don't have access to a phone. And a lot of friendships, a lot of things are done through group chats now, especially, at least the kids around here, all seem to make these group chats and they're constantly talking to each other. I think that's hard if someone doesn't have a phone. So you've got to find balance in there somehow. You've got to weigh that out, but you also want to be responsible and make sure the child isn't going to do things that are just terrible, like get themselves in serious lifelong trouble that have impacts on you and your family. You don't want that to happen. So it is a balance. Overall, I would say lean towards letting them have it once they're a teenager, if you can, because most kids do unfortunately have them. Yeah, there are kids who don't really follow through with other responsibilities, and then it's like you hand them a cell phone.
Huh. Interesting. He should want to do that, and I'm kind of grateful for that because I don't want to accidentally get myself like ruin my life forever by one mistake. That's why I'm kind of happy, about that, or destroy it, because I sometimes do kind of get really angry, and if I had electronic in my hands, I probably would have destroyed it.
Thank you for being so honest about that stuff.
Yeah, that's hard.
When you do something that you make a big mistake with a media device, how does that make you feel afterwards?
I think at first, usually when that happens, I'm so angry because of the consequence. But after, and when I lost the phone, I'm like, can I use the phone? Dad's like, no. That kind of makes it's hard and kind of sad because I see all my friends talk about new games on the phone because all my friends are talking about this stuff, and I really can't. So in a way, I'm kind of left out of the group.
So it makes you pretty sad.
Stop tickling me! Jeez. This is torture.
Yeah.
He tickles me all the time. It's unfair.
How sad does it make? Robert tickles me all the time too.
But it does nothing.
But he tries. I mean, so it's
Once
fair.
in a while, if I could get him off guard, I could tickle his foot.
I didn't even go to touch you.
That's what he wants you to say.
That's what he wants you to say.
Once in a while, if I can catch him off guard and tickle his feet, it works. But that's only for a few minutes or a few seconds. But most of the time, he's fast enough to not let me. So, slowness.
Yeah.
Sadness for me.
Well, folks, thank you so much for watching this on how we do cell phone stuff. I'll make sure to take some screenshots of stuff so that while we're talking, you can actually also look and see what some of our rules and expectations are around cell phones. I think that, man, this is a hard thing, and I would love to hear your comments and advice down below in the comments section, because wading through all the cell phone stuff is rough. Also, let me say that having apps that do parental controls on phones, like we have one that even tells me where he's located in town, or outside of town, I guess, too. But where he's located, I can look and find it based on that phone when he has that phone with him. Those things are critical, really important. I highly recommend them.
Something I want to add is, I hope if you're having trouble with a kid or something with a phone, or you're planning to give your kid a phone, and even if they seem like they'd be good and you've never got them on a phone, I still think, you think they won't do anything. I still think it's a good idea to have one of these contracts, just in case. Because then, if they did something kind of major, like in our country, like skip to step 3, and you do that, they'd be like, well, that's I have no idea this would have happened.
Well, let me
So
say
I think
too,
that would have been good.
Yeah, let me say too that Robert really is a pretty responsible kid at this point, and even he's made some mistakes. And so I think these are traps that kids fall into. And now let's
Go, Dad.
go. Fine, I'll leave. Oh no, wait, you're doing our. Yeah, let's go, Dad. Thanks for watching.
I love the ending, really. Like, fine,